Hello again. Chris Lee of Southeastern 16, joined by Graham Doty and Jay Greason. We are here to preview the Auburn Regional, which has Auburn and Central Connecticut, and Auburn's opener, NC State and Stetson in between. Should be a fantastic regional, guys. Looking forward to it. Jay Greason, I'll kick it to you as our Auburn guy. Your thoughts off the top on this one.
I think Auburn's going to be extremely motivated. We all know how big of a disappointment last year was. We also, and we don't talk about this enough, Graham, the last time Auburn hosted, they got pantsed. In 2023, they went 0-2 and got walked to the curb, and it really set a downward spiral into where we were in 2024. And this year, Auburn, the metrics played it out, and they were rewarded with a top 4 seed. I think they have a very advantageous path to get to Omaha, matched up in a potential, if the seeds hold, a date with Coastal Carolina, which would also be at home. Number I saw, Auburn's 27-6 at Plainsman Park this year, playing the toughest schedule in the country. Auburn's a just 1 seed, but the more you dig into this, the more this does not feel like the cakewalk that is Baton Rouge or Arkansas.
Jay, I forgot about the 2022. That was Penn and Southern Miss. So
yeah,
that's a good point. I think Auburn should feel confidence. To me, they got the best offense in this regional. But just looking at some of the teams and what the other teams do well, like Stetson as a team, they steal a lot of bases. They lead the ASUN in stolen bases. They got the best defense in the ASUN. They got the pitcher of the year, Jonathan Gonzalez. I don't think Auburn is going to face him. And they got the defensive player of the year, which is their junior shortstop. So Stetson is a team.
You mentioned the dude hitting like 490.
Yeah. Well, Stetson is a team, they just don't have a lot of power numbers. Like they got 46 home runs this season. Like nothing really offensively jumps out at you other than their stolen base numbers. So remember, Stetson won their conference tournament. It was dramatic. They had the 7-hour weather delay. They couldn't finish it, so they just get the automatic qualifying bid. So they're coming in kind of a weird tournament setup. Auburn's going to handle Central Connecticut State. Like I got no problems there. And then NC State, they only got 3 all-conference selections. None of them are first-team ACC. They got 2 third-teamers and 1 second-teamers. They don't steal a lot of bases. Their defense is good. Their power numbers are okay. So NC State, that's a team, from what I can tell, they're built around like singles, the occasional double here and there. But to me, the difference in this is just the Auburn offense. Like where Auburn does have, I would say, flaws, but everybody has flaws. It's going to be their pitching, and it's going to be fascinating to see what Butch Thompson does and like how he wants to handle that. But if there's anybody I trust pitching wise and how they handle it, it's Butch Thompson.
To that point, and we talk about this in all of the SEC hosting and all the 8 SEC 1 seeds about, do you hand the ball to your perceived Friday night ace in an overmatched 1-against-4? And Graham, the guy hitting 358 who led the nation in the country plays for Central Connecticut. So I didn't mean to insinuate he played for Stetson or NC State. But Butch Thompson, when asked about it just this, I guess yesterday, spent 90 seconds talking in circles about even invoking a quarterback culture. And you can't go wrong at Auburn making football references. That's the smart play. But when asked about whether Sam Dutton was going to get the ball Saturday or in game 1 against an overmatched Central Connecticut, I think all 3 stars are prepared to go whatever game we think is right. And this is what he said to reporters. I don't want anybody to think I'm stealing anybody's work. Or we stay the same. I think it's just compelling to figure out the identity of the other team, to see where we slot our guys, because nothing's about a safe play right now. Nothing's about taking the wrath of your criticism if we started a guy here. And this is where he completely shifts gears. I mean, like Ford versus Ferrari, Christian Bale gear shift into the straight Tony V playbook. That's the difference. We'll have to start a different quarterback every game. And we're in a football culture environment to where we have to start a different quarterback every game we play. So it's a huge decision. We'll make what we think is the best matchup. Can't you just answer it with that last sentence? And I love Butch Thompson. I actually like Butch Thompson as much as I like Bruce Pearl. But I got all of that stuff. I mean, I felt like Clark in European Vacation, and they're going through the circle in London, and he's going, look, kids, Big Ben Parliament. Look, kids, Big Ben Parliament. I can't get left.
All right, just to cover all our bases here. Central Connecticut, per 27 outs, scored 9.5 runs a game. Jay mentioned some good hitters. Having said that, DSR, which is the ranking that I trust the most, it's kind of the quality computer ranking. Central Connecticut went 31-15. The DSR ranking was 214. That's because they played the number 302 strength of schedule. So they're not going to see anything like what they're going to see in Auburn. So, right. I mean, like, you never know in the off chance that something translates. I want to get that out there. And I think, to me, can Auburn go – I would think Auburn would probably go Cam Tilley in the opener and handle it pretty well. And Auburn's got some arms that it can use to kind of eat some innings. So to me, you know, if something crazy happens, there you go. Central Connecticut hit the ball really well against the schedule that it has. And it does have a couple of top-end pitchers that have put up good numbers. But, I mean, that would be so out of the box that I think I'm not expecting it. So, to me, let's give Auburn a pass through day one. And then what do we think we see in day two? Stetson and NC State, I think, is going to be a dandy of an opener for those teams.
In the conversation of numbers that count, the one that just screamed off the page to me about NC State, and in another video here on the site, you can find how we talked about Arkansas being not only well-balanced, but good at a lot of different things. These numbers really jumped off the page to me, Graham. Offensively, NC State struck out 316 times, and they were walked or hit by pitch 313 times. That's just about 1-to-1 over an entire year. As pitchers, 474 Ks and only 213 walks or hit by pitches. And that's better than 2-to-1. So in matters of finding cheap ways on and limiting cheap ways for your opponents to get on, NC State does a pretty doggone good job of maximizing that proposition.
They really do. You mentioned their strikeouts, Jay. Only one team in the ACC has struck out fewer times, and that's Virginia, and they didn't even make the tournament. So what NC State does extremely well, they just make you earn it when they're at the plate.
Yeah, I mean, the strikeout rate as a team was 15%. That's about as low as you'll see at this level. You know, when they get on, they don't run a lot. 28 steals, 10 caught stealing. So I don't know if that's a factor, but what they do is they just get on base. You look at the on-base percentages up and down the lineup. Most of them are in the high 300s, low to mid 400s. They got a couple of guys in there that are relatively weak. But some of those guys also hit for power too, so there's that. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lineup that'll push you. Stetson, not a very offensive club, but does pitch it pretty well. Jonathan Gonzalez, their ace, I think we mentioned him earlier. They've got a couple of dudes out of the bullpen, Ty Van Dyke and Jake Gorlick, who just dominated this year. ERAs of 104 and 141. So, yeah, I mean, I think whoever you get Auburn gets next, they're going to be in for a fight either way. It's either what NC State can do to you through the way it puts the ball in play, and Auburn's a pretty good strikeout staff, and they don't give a lot of free passes. That's been a point of emphasis for Butch Thompson, so there's that. In fact, the staff allowed a 12% free pass rate. Your top guys, Dutton, 6%, Chatterton, 12%, Carson Myers, who you see out of the bullpen, 6%. Those are pretty good rates. Ryan Hetzler, the closer, 5%. Parker Carlson, 6%. So I think Auburn might have the arms to match up pretty well with State in terms that it throws strikes from a number of spots. The Stetson pitching could be a little trickier. So I don't really know who poses the bigger threat here.
Well, the good news for Auburn, like they're going to avoid Gonzalez, so they won't see the ASUN pitcher of the year.
Yeah, but I think after that, their other starters aren't great. But again, you got Van Dyke and Gorlick, who ate 80-something innings between them, with an ERA around $1.25 combined. I think that's what you're rooting for. If your Stetson Gonzalez gets you deep into the opener, if you win, maybe you don't have to use those guys. And I think Auburn's going to be watching that too, because I think that and the fact, like, what do we get from Sam Dutton, guys? Because he was a reliever at LSU. I think he threw about 30 innings a year ago. And anytime a guy's effectiveness wanes under an innings count that is way more than he's used to, and Dutton wound up throwing 75 and a third and was squarely in that pitcher of the year conversation in the league, a month ago. Not there anymore because the last couple starts haven't been as good. So he's probably the X factor of the entire tournament.
Well, there's two. And for Auburn, Auburn's had a dream season. It's only the second time they've ever been a top 4 national seed. Your dudes have to show up and be dudes. Ike Irish needs to remind everybody why he's a top 15 pick this weekend. And Sam Dutton, whenever he gets the ball, because even if they decide to give him the ball in game 1, I personally would think that's a mistake, but Butch Thompson's forgotten more baseball than I'll ever know. But even if it's that, you got to eat 7+ innings so everybody else is fresh and ready in case this thing goes all the way into Monday.
I think the other thing too, Auburn has just got so many veteran arms out of that pitching staff. And like Irish is a guy that can carry you through the tournament. I mean, he was my pick of player of the year in the league, and I got some flack for that, but his numbers in conference play. And let's not forget, he started by missing a series with a shoulder issue. His numbers in conference play, he was the best hitter in the league in the conference, I think, in league play. He's going to be a middle of the first round guy in a month now, and it's going to be completely deserved. They've also got Cooper McMurray, who is consistent as the day is long. And we haven't even talked about the lineup, guys. Chris Rembert was incredible. Probably should have been a first-team All-SEC pick.
Did McMurray make all conference?
No, he didn't. He didn't because it was a beauty pageant at first base. But
he hit 330 with 14 home runs, and he's not all conference. That's insane.
Well, hey, don't be the guy who's pointing at the problem without coming up with a solution, because who you taking off?
Yeah, that's the problem. But I mean, look, I think he's hit 14 home runs 3 years in a row. He's been on this stage before. The freshman didn't really appear to hit a wall. I mean, at least Rembert didn't down the stretch. But Bub Terrell, he's come on a little bit late.
He hit a wall. He hit like a 2.5 week stretch where you could tell. It was like, this is the most games he's played in a long time. But you're right. I do think he's kind of figured it out, especially down the stretch here.
Yeah. I mean, and Fralick behind the plate was really good for them too, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris, we talked about this even in the winter. I mean, would you want to win the SEC tournament? Of course, especially in your home state. Especially, I mean, it's a resume mark for everybody. You get rings and you're celebrated and yada, yada, yada. There are a handful of dudes, Dutton and some of the guys you mentioned, Auburn not doing anything for a week, I think really helped Auburn.
Yeah.
It'll mess around and be close to 10 days.
Yeah. I look, Elliott Avent has done a lot for North Carolina State. He's kind of like a Butch Thompson, and he gets the most out of his talent. I'm looking at some stuff here, though, guys. I think when I come down to it, I look at how well tested you were. Strength of schedules according to DSR. Auburn 2, NC State 47, Stetson 117, Central Connecticut 302. And I think let's just get into picks unless you guys have got something else that you want to hit here.
I'll start.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, you're going to have to get that Nike later this summer.
You also have to tell.
Did I tell you this story? I got an Auburn pullover that is so old that it's now back in style because it's got the Nike logo on it. So I'm not gonna have to go buy a new Auburn pullover.
I thought you were gonna say you had like Russell, like the old school Tommy Tuberville days.
I can't quit Auburn even as bad as the football program is because I can't afford to replace my wardrobe.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners only, that's Jay picking Auburn.
Yes,
Graham?
I picked Auburn, my alma mater. I really try not to be a homer. I am an Auburn fan. That's where I went to school. But I try to be as fair and unbiased as we can be.
Yeah, I'm picking Auburn too. I know NC State, they're one of those teams like they're either insanely hot or they just kind of go away quietly this time of year.
And before we get to Chris, because of those kind of free pass numbers we talked about, be interesting to see a tight strike zone could really hurt Auburn this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Auburn is just still the most offensive club in this. I think that the pitching depth is a big thing. I don't know that Stetson hits enough to compete, and Auburn's it appears to have a cookie in game one. Butch Thompson has been so good in these spots for the most part. The last one that Jay mentioned put aside. But, you know, and as an aside, man, I think Auburn got the toughest draw of maybe any SEC 1 seed to get to Omaha because, I mean, with apologies potentially to Arkansas, which could have Tennessee, but, I mean, you got Auburn, NC State, Florida, Coastal Carolina have all gotten a lot of love as potential College World Series teams. Those are the 8 teams in Auburn's part of the draw. First, you got to survive this week to get to next, though. I don't think this is easy. I could see NC State or Stetson winning this regional, but I'm going to go with Auburn based on trust in Butch Thompson, Ike Irish, and crew. Butch is a master at putting the pieces together, pacing his team to have them ready for the postseason, and so is Elliott Avent. So maybe that washes out a little bit, but I'm riding with the home team. I'm riding with the team that has been most tested, and that's Auburn. So clean sweep for the Tigers here. Yeah.
And Auburn is playing a night game for game one, so that place is going to be packed.
Yeah.
Tickets are gone.
All right, we'll be here to pick all the regionals. Hit the subscribe button. That's free. At least all the SEC regionals. That's 13. Hit the like button if you like this. That helps our analytics. And we got a premium tier that you can join too, just $4 a month. So hope you'll do that. For Jay Grease and Graham Doty, thank you for watching our preview of the Auburn Regional. God bless you. We'll see you again soon with more SEC baseball content, not just previews, but reactions throughout the tournament. So I hope you'll catch us there.